Good afternoon, everyone. I am Amelia, and I am here to welcome you to our spring video series with LCH and DVCCC. Talking about domestic violence with your child can be a difficult conversation, but it is a really important one. Teach them early, listen, and learn. Children's picture books can start these conversations. So today we will be reading Say Something by Peggy Moss. We will have questions and answers made especially for kids and questions and answers made especially for parents. So let's introduce today's readers.
Hi, my name is Daphne and I'm a caseworker at LCH.
Hi, my name is Clara and I'm a legal advocate at DVCCC. Let's begin.
Say something. There's a kid in my school who gets picked on all the time. I think he's sad. I think he's sad because he keeps his head down when he walks down the hall.
And he hardly ever says hello. I don't pick on him. I feel sorry for him. There's another kid in my school who gets teased. He gets called names.
When he's moving through the halls, kids push him and tell him he's slow. I walk on the other side of the hall. I don't say those things. A girl who rides on my bus always sits alone.
Sometimes kids throw things at her and call her names. The girls who sit behind her laugh. I don't laugh. I don't say anything. One day my friends were out and I had to sit alone in the cafeteria.
Some kids came over to me and they started telling jokes. I laughed until the joke started to be about me. My face burned. I looked down at the table. I sat on my hands to keep them from moving so much. I tried not to cry, but it was hard not to cry. And when they saw my face getting wet, the kids started laughing. I wish I could stop crying. I wish I could disappear.
When the kids left, I looked around the cafeteria. I was surprised to see that the cafeteria was full of students. There were even kids that I knew, sitting at the table right next to mine. They were looking at me. I could tell they felt sorry for me.
When I went home, I told my big brother. I was mad at the kids at the table next to mine. He shrugged and said, "Why? They didn't do anything." "Right," I said. On the bus the next day, I sat next to the girl who always sits alone. She's really funny.
Thank you so much, Daphne and Clara. That was such a great story and something that I'm sure a lot of kids might relate to when they hear it. Let's talk about some common questions that kids might have after reading Say Something.
Clara, what is bullying?
Well, bullying is a repeated aggressive behavior when one person or a group of people in a position of power deliberately intimidates, abuses, or coerces an individual with the intention to hurt the person physically or emotionally. Acts of bullying can be physical or verbal, and or verbal, I should say.
What can I do when I see bullying?
Well, as we learn in the book, say something to the person that it's been teased. A simple hi will make a difference. If you feel safe, you say something to the bully, and you can say, "Oh, I lost it." Like, I don't want to hear that, or I don't like that. Tell an adult, a parent, a teacher, a principal, a school nurse, or someone that you trust. You can tell your parents. You can reach out to others, and in social media, sometimes they have a lot of resources online. You can do that as well. But I encourage you to look up and speak to an adult.
All right. Thank you, ladies. And what about some common questions that parents might have?
So one of them would be, what can I do when my child comes home and says that they've been bullied?
Well, talk to your child about what bullying is and encourage your child to speak up. Talk about how important it is for your children to inform you or another adult what's bullying and teasing, and listen to your child. More importantly, listen to your child as to why he or she are being bullied, teased, abused, whichever the word that they use. They don't necessarily will be using the word bullying. You as a parent, speak up to the school about how to start something about an anti-bullying program. Partner with organizations that have to bring awareness to the school, that have the experience of this. Bring other parents into the discussion. Sometimes the one that the bully does not, the parents do not know that that child is a bully.
Yeah, and that brings us to, what can I do if I'm informed that my child is a bully?
Well, as we had the conversation earlier, I think it's going to be a very tough conversation with your child, but nevertheless, it needs to take place. You have to talk to your child about his behaviors, his or her behaviors, I should say, and that behaviors are hurting others. They might not know what bullying is, exactly what it means. They might be doing this because they have to look cool, and it is better to tackle now that issue before it gets to you know unnecessary hurting others. The consequence can be big. Get help from community resources. There are a lot of resources that can be found online as well as in your school. If your school is not again of the bullying campaign, reach out and be the first one to bring that awareness. Speak to your counselor in your school and see if there's any resources that the counselor can provide you on to help your child navigate this issue, and get counseling for your child and for the family, and see how you can help that child work on those issues, because usually the bully has other issues that are showing up as a way that's being aggressive to others.
So I want to thank you both so much, Daphne and Clara. And to close our book reading, we actually have some pediatric providers from LCH here to answer a couple of questions about children and domestic violence. So we'd like to welcome them to the show.
Hi.
Hello.
So what do you see in your office as common signs of domestic violence in children?
Okay. Well, my name is Paula Bren, and I'm a pediatric provider, and Atlee Aaron is also a pediatric provider at LCH. And it's domestic violence can take various forms. Bullying is just one. There's witnessed violence in the home, traumatic events that the child has seen. There can be somebody in the home with substance abuse. There can be divorce or separation in the home. There's so many different adverse events that a child can experience. And it can be very confusing and traumatic for them. They often will not express exactly what is going on or how they feel, and they may present with episodes of emotional lability, crying, acting out, appetite changes, sleep disturbances, changes in their school performance. There's so many ways that a young child especially can tell us that something is not right. And I think it's important that we pay attention to that, especially with the younger ones who can even lose some developmental milestones while they're going through these traumatic events. So it's important to create a safe space for them.
It's also important you don't want to wait for your child or children to come to you to bring this up. It's very likely that they're scared and they're uncomfortable. So you want to, you can use a story like how we talked about today to kind of bring up these topics. It's also a good idea to start with a message of support. Let your child know that you're there for them, you care about them, and you're willing to take the time to sit down and listen to what they have to say or how they're feeling. It's also important in general to show support. You want to acknowledge the child's feelings and their versions of the event, even if it's a different way than maybe you interpreted it. And it's also great to express that violence is not okay and that it's not their fault if they are being bullied or if they've witnessed violence in the home. Children are naturally more self-centered and they tend to think that things are their fault. For example, if parents are getting divorced in the home, the child may, feel as if that they caused this. So it's important, to let them know that and assure them that this is not their fault.
Thank you all so much for your expertise and your input and for answering these questions for us all today. And I just want to remind everyone at home that there are so many resources, as you can see, available in your community here at DVCCC, here at LCH. So please feel free to check out our websites, as you can see them scrolling below, to look at other books that you can read with your children about domestic violence. Many of these books are available at your public local libraries, so you can check them out there. And other resources will also be listed in the chat of this session.
And we'd also like to say to talk to your pediatrician and your pediatric providers, because we really are here to help you, and we do not think any concern is silly or not important enough to be addressed. So reach out. There are a lot of resources, and we can start here to help your kids. Thank you.
Thank you.